Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing selections for the Grand National only for Saturday the 5th of April. Well, it's fantastic to be back, but I'm just doing this video and I should still be taking some time out. I am keeping an eye on things that are happening, mainly on the flat racing. Quite interesting, a few trainers to follow, but I shall mention those when I next do my next videos. So the Grand National, it's a tricky race, but I'm basically having one bet. I've not looked into any of the other racing, and I'm staking £31. It's a fair amount of money, but it's one bet. Well, one race, should I say? Few bets. I've gone for five selections in total. I've gone for I think it's three wins and two each way. To be fair, the each way selections I am more interested in than the win ones. The win ones are a little bit more, probably a bit more obvious. You know, the kind of like you tend to find the horses that maybe win this race or the kind of race it is now is favouring the classier horses that may not be fantastic stayers over 1 4 mile 2 furlong, but might just get away with it with that bit of class. But I am going for two potential outsiders that hopefully don't take each other on in the lead, that could be up there throughout. And I think I've got a right chance. They come from powerful connections when it comes to the Grand National history. I think one of the trainers probably a bit his form in the race probably goes back a bit further than his more recent form in the race. He tends to train front runners in this race that always seem to run well for a long way, and sometimes even look like the potential winner. And then come the I don't know. Well, don't quote me on this. I don't know if it's come like the canal turn. You're thinking, hey, I've got a right chance here, and then doesn't run into a place in the end. But I shall announce what those are very shortly. There will be a football bet that will be in the description at 12 o'clock lunchtime. It'll be £7 over 2.5 goals. No, it won't. It'll be it'll be £7 over 2.5 goals double, and a £3 over 3.5 goal double. I'm even though I'm having two selections, I'm pretty sure that there'll still be one that lets me down. But let's get on to the the Grand National. So the Grand National tips for 2025 are as follows. Um, so what I've had is I have had £5 win. I believe it to be £2.50 wins and two £2.50 each way singles. And I've also had forecasts and tricasts. So let's make the most of this. So let me get into the first selection. So the first selection is definitely one of the more interesting ones. It is a £2.50 each way single on Beauport. This horse, 3 runs ago, when it last ran over Chase Fences, absolutely hiked up. It's a front runner that can be hard to catch. I do like front runners at the National because they are out of trouble. Don't go on, they've still got to jump the fences, although the fences aren't quite as, in my opinion, tough as what they used to be. But this horse is a very hardy front runner. Its last 2 runs have been over hurdles. I tell you what, I think it's run absolute crackers. And you have to ask yourself the question: why they're sending it over hurdles? Was it to ensure that it can still run a good race, keep its fitness up, knowing that? To be fair, I'm not sure exactly if it hacks up over hurdles, whether its chase mark will be affected. I don't think they normally are, but I think it's off a, I won't say a lenient mark. I think it's off a competitive mark with Aintree probably going to be to its liking. I think because I think this horse can be prominent, can put a good round of jumping in. Hopefully, it comes from a powerful stable connected to the Grand National. Might not have had. I don't know how many winners they've had actually, but what they have had is several runners in the past that have ran extremely good races, but also several fancied horses in the races. So my first selection in the 4 o'clock at Aintree, which is the Grand National, is Beauport, and that is with Skybet, and that is 6 places instead of 4. The next selection is Intense Raffles, and to be fair, I've gone for this. You know how people normally go for names? I've gone for this because if you remember in my Cheltenham video, I didn't really slate a jockey, but what I did, I slated him. Yeah. Um, So this horse is ridden by JJ Slevin. The last thing I want to do is wake up Sunday morning and JJ Slevin is stood in the green colours on the back of the horse with his fist in the air. So I've had to have this one. So I've not even looked at the form. I've looked at the jockey and I've just had £2.50 on it because I know what mine looks like where um, it'll just rub salt in the wounds. So second selection is Intense Raffles in the 4 o'clock at Aintree, the Grand National. Beauport is, I think it's about 25 to 1. Intense Raffles, I do believe, is currently, I think it's 12 to 1. The next selection is definitely one of the interesting ones. It's a £2.50 each way single on Meeting of the Waters. That's in the 4 o'clock at Aintree, 6 places instead of 4. Made pretty much made a lot of the running last year, disputed the lead throughout, and then it even led at the last fence only to weaken into 7th. They'll know a lot more about this, so there's nothing saying that it can't improve on that performance. Um, it's not done a great deal since. It ran okay last time, but disappointing the time before. That doesn't. When you're targeting the Grand National, bad runs, I don't see them as bad runs. You could have 3 pulled ups at the side of your name. You could be leading the last and then pulled up. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't normally happen, but you know what I mean. Pulled up can be. Bearing in mind, let me just say this horse wasn't pulled up, but I'm trying to give you context where don't read too much into recent form because it doesn't mean a great deal. You see him over hurdles, you see him over 2.5 mile. Yeah, forget that. So the fact that it's from a high profile trainer, I think it's William Mullins. Let me just double check. Yeah, William Mullins. So he's not sending it over for nothing. To be fair, 7th out of what we're at 31 runners last year is still a fantastic performance, and it only needs to improve by 1 place for us to get a nice bet up, £2.50 each way. I think it's 22 to 1. The next selection is these are becoming a little bit more or less obvious. Less obvious? More obvious. Anyway, you'll find out for yourself. They've got a more obvious chance. That's the. So bear in mind, this is 3:50 a.m. I'm recording this. So the next selection is Iroko. So it's in the 4 o'clock at Aintree. So this horse, who knows if it stays this far, but it looks like a horse that, if it's crying out for distance, it's been handicapped over much shorter. A very classy horse. I do like the Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerrero stable. I did take one of their horses. I think it began with G. It was like a bit of a funny name. It ran. As I said, it's 3:51 a.m. They had another horse with a funny name, and it ran okay over these fences. It looks like I think Oliver Greenall is a decent trainer, can get horses ready, and hopefully, and it's certainly a low enough price to show you that it's been targeted for this race. I know people that I've seen when I've been crawling different comments on different sites, have been on at this at much bigger prices. And the final selection is Stumptown in the 4 o'clock at Aintree, paying 6 places instead of 4. I think this has got a chance because it's a versatile horse. I'll just make it clear now. I don't think it's the obvious winner, although I backed it to win. But I do think it's a very versatile horse that may not be quick enough to win. I know it sounds daft over 4 mile, 2.5 furlong, but it's a horse that has been running regularly over the cross country courses. So has it lost a bit of speed? I don't know, but it's a trainer that you need on your right side. I do believe it's Gavin Cromwell. He can get horses ready for these kind of things. Yeah, it is Gavin Cromwell. So yeah, so let me just get you. So this is a 10p combination tricast. It's the same selections: Iroko, Stumptown, Intense Raffles, Meeting of the Waters, and Beauport. And if I scroll back up, you'll see the forecast. Not quite sure why they're at top and bottom. There you can see 25p combination forecast: Iroko, Stumptown, Intense Raffles, Meeting of the Waters, and Beauport. And the most interesting two, in my opinion, for a bit of fun, are Meeting of the Waters and Beauport. You can expect them to be towards the front early on and hopefully towards the front late on. So I wish you the very best of luck. If you want to receive regular tips or tips when the nets come out, I would suggest subscribing to the channel. If you don't, that's fine. So I wish you the very best of luck. Like I said, the football bet will be in the description below. So once again, I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.